Okay, strap in. This might be a long one. Let's go! Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Patreon and all sorts of other social media platforms, and I put the handles down below and over there. There. I had no idea where that was going, so that was a lucky escape in my eyes. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special rules on my Discord server, and you have access to all sorts of bonus features, like just what I'm up to on my day-to-day life, my Vocal Anatomy 101 series, my little rants, outtakes, all sorts. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. One such person who has fast-tracked a reaction is Patrick Shapiro, and he has asked that I listen to Big Mama. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say their name properly or just like normally. It's always going to be Big Mama. So that might be a thing. Now, he sent a thing breaking down what they were all about, but I've not read it because I don't want to be led by anything. I'm going in blind, but my understanding is that they're a South Korean female set up. But I'm excited to hear it. As a big papa, I'm excited to hear Big Mama. So let's go.
다 잊어줘 너를 버리고 살아가줘 가져가 내 사랑을 내게 돌려줘
yeah. I love her. Oh yeah, you could be my mama, sure. So I really like this lady's voice. She's got a very deep set larynx, so everything's kind of down here. It gives it this texture. It's smoky and it's round and it's just, it's so comforting to listen to. Why am I so excited? She's using breath work in there to kind of add a little bit of more dimension to that vocal. She's got that lovely thick buttery hum going on. Oh, yes, fan, like it.
차라리 떠났다면 차라리 죽었다면 어쩔 수 없이 참을 텐데 이대로 견디기가 너무 힘들어.
Now this lady's voice is in much more of a mid position, so her larynx is sitting where it would be sitting where she's speaking, when she's speaking even. So it's a slightly brighter sound, it's a little bit more present, it's a little bit less performed maybe, but I feel like I'm getting a really authentic sound from this person. I feel like I know her based on the way that she's singing because it's just so personable. Really nice.
단 한 번 나를 봐주기를 말을 해주기를 예전처럼 단 한 번만 난 그렇게 너를 기다리고 너를 사랑해 왔는데 break away no I can't wait.
I can't deal with this. Is just all these little like I just love that. That is so cool. So this last lady that I heard on her own, she comes across as very sensible, first of all. She looks like she would be chairing the book club meeting if such a thing was going on. Her voice is a lot more kind of nasal place, so the tone kind of sits up here in her nasal passage. That's a lot to do with the velum. It's your soft palate for another word, and when it comes away from your pharynx, you get a little bit of that tone sneaking up through your nasal passage, and it gives this kind of compressed, kind of muffled sound, but it also kind of gives a smoothness that you just can't replicate otherwise. When they all come in with their harmonies as well, just delightful. There's a very aspirate quality to it all, so it's very airy. That allows those tones to blend together really well and not overpower the soloist. So when you've got three voices that are doing something airy and one that's doing something that's a little bit less airy, the less airy sound will pop over the top because it doesn't have that air to contend with, if you like. Really nice.
내가 널 보내줄게 편하게 I'll make my way I'll through my pain 이제
나 없이도 살 수 있게
갑자기 네가 또 생각나 널 떠난 너랑 버리고서 내가 널 찾아도 넌 모르는 척 누굴 찾아왔냐고 또 다시 날 돌아서줘 다시 널 바라보고 살 순 없어 No, I can't wait 떠나줘
That da 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 da, that like fall into that kind of minor harmony is absolutely incredible. Sorry, there's no way to get in here to explain what they're doing. I am so keen to hear the one with the trousers with all the writing on it. So the one that we've not heard on her own yet, because she seems to be this like little firecracker that is just placed in bolstering everybody else and then adding in these little tickles of texture that you can hear her using a little bit of arytenoid rattle, which I'll explain later if we hear it come around again. I'm sure it will. And she just has a lot of character to her voice. I'm desperate to hear her on her own. I'm desperate to hear her on her own. I can't even speak. That's a good sign.
I live my way I do my pain 넌 없었던 사람처럼 Break away
Oh, way. That was, I love that look. Very Michael Jackson-y. Come on. Betrayal?
어떤 말부터 꺼내야 하니 미안하다는 그 말조차 미안할 뿐이야.
Right, okay. Perfect start to every song would be this lady because that deep set, rich tone just eases you in. You feel like you're in safe hands with this voice. You can hear her going and taking these really big gasps of breath. Now, usually I would recommend not doing that, but the only reason I would say that is because it can encourage your larynx to shoot down. We know that this lady's singing with a really low larynx anyway, so it doesn't matter for her because that's where she's keeping her larynx sitting the whole time. It could almost be that she's using that to force her larynx down and create a little bit of subglottic pressure so she gets a little bit of that intense push off that sound as well. Really, really nice. Absolutely love her voice. There's a little bit of fry in there as well, so that it's that croaky sound where your vocal folds are at their slackest and the air's just kind of finding its way through in a irregular pattern. So when you start phrases like that, it can give this lovely little tickle of texture. Good.
나쁜 여자야 난 은혜도 모르는 사람 이것밖에는 안 되는 나인가 봐
Bit of low larynx from her now.
같던 너의 사랑 과분한 줄 알면서 난 어쩔 수가 없었어 돌이킬 수가 없었어 나의 마음이 자꾸 가그 사람에게 자꾸 가참 나쁘지 참 못됐지 미련 없이 날 잊어 하지마
Her voice sounds so consistent because she stays in quite a thin vocal fold position most of the time. So everything's got that lightness of tone to it, even when she then uses a little bit of nasal twang to kind of bolster it along, or a little bit of oral twang maybe to make it a wee bit louder. She's always in a thin place. So when she pops up into that real light head voice kind of space, it sounds dead consistent because she's kind of never leaving that area. No matter where she is in her range, she's trying to keep everything nice and thin. Just, oh, lovely. The other women, again, I feel like I want to go for a coffee with her because her voice is so authentic. Honestly, I feel like I know her. And now we're going to hear the one with the writing on her trousers. Yes, let's hear you.
이 말 하나만 믿어줘 널 사랑한 날 동안만큼은 진심이었어.
Oh, hello. Right, okay, so she is really, really good. She is a wee powerhouse. A lot of pressure coming out of her voice here. I don't think that it's like a dangerous amount of pressure, but it just is such a punch in the face listening to that sound come out of her. She'd be terrible at poker. Her face is so expressive. She's telling you everything that she's doing and everything she's going through. There's a lot of deliberate jaw movements to get that oscillation going. You don't necessarily need that for like heavy vibrato, but some folk do it, and she is an example of someone that does it. She's kind of like if you took all of the other singers and just like megazorded them into one person. She's just got this kind of full range of tricks to go through. It's amazing to listen to.
나를 사랑한다면 아무것도 바라지 않아 손을 대면 차가운 내 가슴 안아주면 돼 깊게 새긴 이별도 바보처럼 벌써 잊은 거냐고 그런 말은 내게 묻지 말아줘 삼켜버린 눈물이 혹시라도 입에 가득 고여 새버릴까봐 나를 사랑해도 되냐고 묻고 또 물어도 대답은 못하지만
So just the fact that she can sit and hit the intensity that you don't really realise that there's a saxophone coming in with her until she stops. That just goes to show quite how intense she can make her voice. That kind of tells me that she's using her epiglottis to employ a bit of oral twang. That's where your epiglottis makes a little chamber above your vocal folds. It makes a really, really condensed airflow, and it makes the intensity of the sound between 2 and 4 kilohertz the brightest that it will be in your voice, which is the resonant frequency of your ear canal, which is why it sounds so much more intense for not that much effort, if you like. The way that their voices complement each other is really, really important as well. You kind of have a little bit of everything. You've got that smoky, aspirate sound, you've got the nasal sound, you've got the kind of twangy sound, and then you've got a bright, dark, it just kind of covers absolutely everything all at once. Together when they come in, it means that they can build together, and it doesn't seem like one is going over the top of any of the others. They've just got that blend down absolutely perfect. Fantastic. Let's keep going.
벌써 잊은 거냐고 그런 말은 내게 묻지 말아줘 나도 괜찮아 누구라도 나는 괜찮아
There's kind of like a classic 90s kind of sound to this. Like when 90s flirted with jazz, it's got that real, I don't know, it's just like a kind of a jazz bar energy. I really, really, really enjoy it. Now, there was an awful lot going on there, so it's quite hard to pick stuff out, but I could hear a little bit of kind of skrelting, which is like a belt that is like almost squealed at the top. So it's kind of head voice, but so powerful that it comes through as a belt, is the only way I can kind of explain it. Jennifer Hudson does it really well. She's a really good example of a skrelter. This kind of bending scoop on certain harmonies is just fantastic. Puts me kind of in mind of Brown Eyed Girl. What was that song they did? Is it Sixth Sense? That's a long time ago. I think it's called Sixth Sense. One of the only K-pop songs I knew before I started watching this channel. Started doing this channel. It takes a lot of working with partners to make that blended scoop work. A harmonized scoop is not an easy thing to do. But when you're in sync with one another, there's few things that sound as tasty in a vocal unit. Just delicious.
전 국민의 아들 노래방 애창곡 노래방 애창곡 드디어 기념 라이브를 여러분 기대하세요.
여러분 같이 따라해주세요.
부끄럽습니다 멤버들 앞에서. 여러분 잘 들어주세요.
Why are you embarrassed?
혼자라니까.
왜 말 안 했니 아님 못한 거니 조금도 날 생각하지 않았니.
Kind of starting the way that the other one starts. A little bit lower larynx, kind of making that a wee bit deeper. And a lot of breath work as well. So pushing these little emotional puffs of air to make you feel that kind of emotional intensity or that kind of nervous energy is such an effective thing to do. And it gives that kind of shaky start, like what a fakey shaky start. Very, very good.
좋아한다면 사랑한다면 이렇게 끝낼 거면서 왜 그런 말을 했니. 널 미워해야만 하는 거니 아니면 내 탓을 해야만 하는 거니. 시간을 돌릴 수만 있다면 다시 예전으로 돌아가고 싶은 마음뿐이야. 그래 더 이상 묻지 않을게. 내 곁을 떠나고 싶다면 돌아보지 말고 떠나가.
So I was saying I wanted to hear her, and then she's like, have a whole song. Thank you. I don't know your name, but thank you so much. One thing I really, really like about this lady is these little tonal just squeaks in her breath. So it's like, like they're almost as much of a feature of her vocals as her actual voice. It just aids in that emotional delivery, and if you don't pay attention, it will kind of go over your head, but you'll still feel it, and that's really, really important. Her voice is just really safe. It's really thick and kind of resonant, and I'm just very, very happy with her voice.
눈물은 흘리지 않을게. 괜히 맘만 약해지니까 내게서 멀어진 네 모습이 흐릿하게 보여. 눈물이 나나 봐. 널 많이 그리워할 것 같아. 참아야만 하겠지. 잊혀질 수 있도록 다시는 사랑 같은 걸
Don't you dare! How dare you come into my house and do that? So this was thick fold into thin fold. So you feel that diminuendo, but it's on the same note. So just kind of peters out. But it went from like super strong to still strong. It just thinned out a touch. Oh, amazing. She is a really, really good visual example of anchors in action. So your anchors, you've got muscle groups in your torso, so your pecs, your lats, and your quads, and in your head, which would be your occipital muscles and your sternocleidomastoids. They kind of work as a big framework for more intense voicing, so that the big muscles kind of come in and do all the work that the little muscles would ordinarily do if you weren't employing them. You can see that with these big kind of hand gestures and she's like she sometimes looks like she's being like electrocuted in a complimentary way. Not that you can get electrocuted in a complimentary way, but I don't mean it in a derogatory sense, as in the way I'm describing it is what I mean. It allows her, though, to pull up into these more intense places and these higher pitches on stronger folds, and it kind of secures it in place so that you're not going to have any of these wobbles. She is so good.
행복하길 바래 나보다 좋은 여자
I love how they like clap for each other and everything. Yeah, get some water in you.
신나게 자꾸 재촉하지 마 터질 것만 같아 아직 끝이 아니야 난 널 믿지 않아.
There's a good example of harmonies that are not aspirate. So they're all using that twangy place. So you get this super intense sound. And when you get 4 lots of it and you scoop up through that, it just has this power. It's so intense. But you all have to make sure that you're matching. So if somebody is doing it way too much or somebody's fallen off of it, then you probably would lose them. So they've managed to balance out their recipes so they're all sounding kind of uniform. That is really quite important if you're going to be that twangy with your harmonies. Very good.
날 그런 눈으로 바라보는 세상 너나 돌아봐 멋대로 뜻대로 나 모습 그대로 날 멋대로 할 거야 그래 너와 내가 다르다는 걸 왜 받아들이지 못해 내가 너를 그냥 내버려도 듯이 그 무엇도 강요할 순
There we go. That is a little bit that arytenoid rattle that I was talking about earlier, like about 5 years ago. That is your arytenoids, which basically open and close your vocal folds, for want of a better term. And when we make them rattle together, you get kind of sound. So when she's going and mixing it into her beautiful tone, mine's a wee bit Cookie Monster-esque, but you get the idea. Then you get that real texture coming through, and it doesn't hurt. It's just a way of kind of rattling your folds around, or rattling those arytenoids. The first lady, low larynx lady, she has got quite a lot of texture through her voice. It sounds a bit kind of weathered almost, like it's been around the block a few times. It's got that real aged oak smoked beauty to it. Oh, and you can't buy that kind of voice. That's kind of, it's there or it's not, and she has got it.
터질 것만 같아 아직 끝이 아니야 난 그냥 나일 뿐이야 널 믿지 않아 자꾸 재촉하지 마 터질 것만 같아 끝이 아니야 아직 끝난 건 아냐 널 믿지 않아
That's just insane.
Come on.
That's a really interesting tone. Like vibbing on that kind of tone is quite difficult actually, but she does it so well. It's really, I've not heard that very much. Very nice. Again, that thin onto thinner kind of place. Ooh. Just, it's so effective. Her voice is so light. It's like almost ethereal. It's really beautiful.
Come on. 흔해 빠진 거짓말 안 들어도 뻔한 말 전부 내 눈에는 보여 내 앞에선 절대 못 속여
삶에 얽힌 인연도 운명 같은 시작도 결코 어긋나진 않아 언젠가는 다시 돌아와
Look at her mouth shape. Oh, ah. She's really getting as much distinction out of those vowels as possible with that mouth shape. Oh, ah. You can really, really exaggerate the sound that you're trying to make by exaggerating your mouth. And a lot of folk don't exaggerate their mouth shape enough. Like if you watch yourself in a mirror, you'll see usually it stays quite kind of tight-lipped. But if you really, really go for it, you'll get results like this.
외면하지 마 태연히 받아들여 모두 다 조심스레 한 번 더 잘 생각해봐 못 버텨하고 혼자 치우면 돼 속는 셈 치고 한 번 봐주면 돼 그냥 네 뜻대로 살아가도 상관없어 신경 쓰지도 마 한두 번 겪은 일도 아니잖아 돌아봐 미련도 후회도 없잖아
현명한 선택도 돌아올 시련도 혼자서 마음 먹긴 나름이야
또 하루 이틀 말없이 흘러가듯
I would encourage you to go back and look at their mouth shapes on that. One is like, ah, oh, ah. They all have a different mouth shape, and that is going to affect the actual kind of shape of the vowel that they're trying to make. So you're going to be hearing light and shade through that whole thing. Really good. They're all so good. I feel like the longer that this is going on, the more their voices are coming through. So you're getting a lot more brightness off of the first lady, and you're getting a lot more kind of tone and richness off the second one. And then the one at the end, the one with the white shirt on, she is really quiet to be. I mean, obviously she's singing like crazy, but she's kind of understated, but she's coming in and just ripping up the game with some crazy vocals, but then she just kind of falls back in. She's very, very modest in her delivery, and I really, really like that. They're just so much fun. They're so much fun. That rattle.
가끔 힘이 들고 서러워도 잊어버려 oh yeah
실컷 불어도 돼 참아 못한 말 혼자 다 해도 돼 돌아봐 미련도 후회도 없잖아
두려워하지마 한 번 더 시작해
Oh, they are phenomenal.
가서 못할게.
More modest.
마지막 소원 하나라면 들어줄 수 있나요? 그대가 할 수 있는 일이며
Her voice is so gentle. So I said before that possibly the one with the lower larynx is the best start to most songs because it's so like smooth and you're kind of floating in on it. But that is also a great way to start a song. Just gentle. Like almost you want to be careful with that voice. You want to protect it at all costs. But I can see that the other lady's coming in, so let's see what she's gonna do.
힘들게 지켜온 나의 사랑이 꼭 이대로 머물게 도와줘요.
조금 더 조금만 더 노래할 수 있도록
The delivery of her straight notes are so good. A lot of the time, especially in modern day, we are just inundated with riffs. Riffs, 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 riffs. Nothing can be sung just straight. It always has to... This is such clean, beautiful delivery. It's so, so nice to hear. And it's not the easiest thing to do either. A lot of folk will riff because it's easier than just holding something straight the whole time. I mean, you're trying to make your folds vibrate the same amount of times per second over a period of multiple seconds. That's not the easiest thing to pull off. And she's doing it amazingly.
또 많이 남은 내 사랑 모두 꼭 그대에게 다 전할 수 있게.
So good. They're so supportive of one another and they're so playful with one another. That is addictive. I want to watch more of them because of the way that they interact with each other. When they're playing around and just having a good time and laughing at each other, second to none. They're also all very, very good at vibrato. That is where you tilt your thyroid cartilage forward. I may have already said that, but this video seems that it's gone on for so long that I've forgotten. But if not, that's how you're getting that tilted, lilty sound. Sweet, gorgeous, beautiful, and they can all do it really well.
소리였습니다. 이곳은 뭘까요? 맞춰보세요. 맞춰주신 거예요?
퀴즈였어요, 퀴즈.
I love you all!
그래요 지워볼게요 지금 기억까지 꿈에서도 남지 않게 조금 더 미울 수 있게 그댈 다 버리게 좀 더 아프게 돌아서줘요 나 그대와 나눴던 사랑이 이제와 아련한 추억만 너무나도 힘겨워 차마 두려워서 그대 사진조차 꺼내볼 용기도 나지 않죠 그래요 울어볼게요 내 눈물은 후회 없이 흘릴게요
So watch how they're looking at each other when they're in their harmony groups. The importance of maintaining eye contact and getting that organic delivery is so, so important. You need to work really hard with your partners to get that kind of smooth, seamless sound, and they're all just so good. Top note from the sensible lady. I know that's not, she might not be sensible at all, but it's just reading sensible. When she hit that top note, you could see there was no intensity or like strain to get there. She's just letting that note fly out of her mouth. So a little bit of anchoring, a little bit of twang, and that is just going to fly out of a higher set voice. Absolutely gorgeous. Listen to the cries coming off of the deep set larynx lady. Just absolutely insane. Beautiful. So good. Camera ran out of battery there, so if the angle's changed, I apologise. Anyway, back to our scheduled viewing. They all seem to have this gorgeous top end of their voice. It's really powerful, while at the same time being quite gentle. I mean, some of them can really push it into this kind of belty territory, but they've just, they work so well together.
너무 섹시해요. 너무
So
섹시해요.
hot.
지영 씨.
I love that. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but her cries are absolutely beautiful. So that's like twisting over that tone, and it just gives a little bit more of emotional intensity, a wee bit more bite to her overall performance. Gorgeous.
이거 뭐죠? 이것은 처음 듣는 곡이죠?
여러분 귀 기울여서 들어주세요.
하루만 더 들어봐야 될 텐데. 잘 지내란 인사 못할 것 같아. 오늘까지만 눈물 흘릴게. 혼자 남은 내 맘을 이해해줘.
네 흔적이 그대로 남아서 내 입술이 추억을 부르고 여전히 너를 사랑한다.
There's a real formula coming through with them now. So the two on the left seem to start most of the songs, and then the two on the right seem to add lots of embellishments onto the songs. It's a formula that works. It's very good. They're just stunned. Very good.
하루만 더 너를 사랑할게. 단 한순간도 못 잊어. 너 없는 세상이 너무나 아파서 무뎌져가. 다시 돌아와줘. 시간을 기대어 있어마다 이별음을 계속 선명해질까.
That lady's got a sweat on. She is giving it so much. She's got a sweat on. That tells you how much she is going for it. What an absolute powerhouse. Absolutely love you. Okay, they go on to be really charming at the end. So go and watch the original video and just fall in love with them like I have. Fabulous. What an absolute unit they make. So good. Power, tenderness, airiness, twanginess. They have got absolutely everything. They are just fantastic, phenomenal, beautiful, amazing. Other descriptive words of greatness. Now, I'd say if you've got any other suggestions, then let me know, but we heard about like 7 songs there. I don't know how many, but it felt like a lot. So if there's anything I've not listened to, let me know down in the comments and we'll go and check it out. So I hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? I honestly do not know, because there was so much going on that there wasn't much. There's not a single thing I can hone in on. You know? So thank you so much for joining me, and all that's left for me to say is thank you for being here, and goodbye. I feel like that was maybe in the key of the last song, but I could be wrong. Boo!